Okay, so when you think about a great business idea being born, what comes to mind? For most of us, it's a story we know really well. It's this kind of romantic, really inspiring tale. Yeah, it's that classic myth of sudden inspiration. We picture Jeff Bezos sketching Amazon on a napkin, or Steve Jobs having this perfect vision for the iPhone. It feels like a lightning bolt out of a clear blue sky. But what if I told you that story isn't just rare? It's almost completely false. And what's worse is that believing in that myth, it might just be the very thing stopping you from finding your own great idea. The truth is way less magical, but it's so much more practical. So this gets us to our first big mindset shift. Great ideas aren't really invented, they're discovered. What looks like a sudden breakthrough is actually just the final piece of a puzzle clicking into place after years of built-up knowledge and context. It's not about creating something from thin air. It's about seeing what's already there. This is the absolute core idea we have to get our heads around. Strong ideas are discoveries, not acts of pure random creation. And the best part? Discovery is a skill. It is something you can actually learn by knowing where and how to look. So let's just lay it out, the myth versus the reality. The myth tells us to wait around for some bolt of inspiration, but the reality? It's an active process. It's about prolonged exposure to a problem, getting deeply familiar with it, and then recognizing the patterns. This is the big shift from being a passive waiter to becoming an active discoverer. Okay, so if great ideas are discovered, where in the world do we find them? Well, it turns out they're not random at all. They pretty consistently come from just a handful of reliable places. So let's walk through the 6 main sources where great ideas are basically hiding in plain sight. The first source, and honestly the most authentic one, is your own life. This is all about paying attention to your recurring frustrations. The things you complain about all the time, the weird workarounds you've invented, the stuff that just feels broken. That irritation isn't just noise, it's valuable data. And this gives you a huge advantage. You get the problem on a deep, authentic level, and your motivation is through the roof because you're solving it for yourself. I mean, just look at Dropbox. Drew Houston wasn't trying to build a billion-dollar company. He was just a guy who was sick and tired of forgetting his USB drive. All right, the second source comes from being an insider. When you work in an industry for years, you start to see all the cracks in the system. You know exactly which processes are clunky, where money is being wasted, and what customers really complain about behind the scenes. That's knowledge an outsider could never get. This kind of insider knowledge gives you instant credibility. You already speak the language. Take ServiceTitan, for example. It was started by the sons of contractors who literally watched their dads struggle with terrible, outdated software. They knew the pain points intimately and built the exact solution that was needed. Okay, this next one is super interesting. It's what we call expectation gaps. See, once a company totally revolutionizes an experience in one part of our lives, we start to expect that same awesome level of service everywhere. So when you find an industry that hasn't caught up yet, that gap between our expectation and the reality, that is a massive opportunity. Just think about it for a second. Amazon taught us to expect one-click ordering and super fast shipping. Uber taught us to expect on-demand service with a map we can track. Netflix taught us to expect any show anytime we want it. So now when we have to, fax a document or wait on hold for 20 minutes, it feels completely unacceptable. That feeling of this is broken, that's an opportunity. Source number 4 is all about riding these big waves of change. Whenever the world shifts because of new tech, new laws, or just different cultural norms, the old ways of doing things start to break down. This creates a whole new set of needs. The trick is to spot these shifts early. And these changes can come from anywhere. The adoption of smartphones literally created the app economy. New privacy regulations created a sudden need for compliance tools. Cultural shifts towards sustainability are creating massive demand for eco-friendly products. If you pay attention to these big trends, you can position yourself for where the world is headed, not where it's been. Next up, underserved segments. You see, most big companies are chasing the biggest, most obvious markets. And that is great news for you because it leaves countless smaller, niche markets totally ignored. We're talking about groups of people who are desperate for a solution that's built just for them. And the beauty of a niche is that you have way less competition and your customers are so loyal because you actually get their world. ConvertKit is a perfect example. Instead of building yet another generic email tool, they focused only on creators. That laser focus allowed them to build a product that creators absolutely love, and they totally dominate that market. And our final source is all about connecting the dots. This is where you see a business model that totally transformed one industry, and you just ask a simple question: where else could this work? Now, this isn't about just copying something, it's about smart application. For instance, Airbnb didn't invent the sharing economy, they just applied it to travel. Warby Parker didn't invent the direct-to-consumer model, they just applied it to the ridiculously outdated eyewear industry. So many times, real innovation is just about being the first person to connect the dots between two different worlds. So we've covered the 6 places that ideas really come from. Now, let's switch gears and talk about how you can actively put yourself in a position to find them. This is all about building a few key habits that can turn you into an idea discovery machine. Here's a simple 4-part framework. First, you have to increase your exposure to problems. That means getting out there and talking to people in different fields. Second, develop deep expertise. Go deep in one specific area. Third, stay curious. Really pay attention to those big changes happening all around you. And fourth, and this is so important, document everything. Keep a running log of your frustrations and weird observations. So if you only take one thing away from all of this, let it be this: stop waiting for that lightning bolt of inspiration. It's probably not coming. Finding a great business idea is an active, deliberate process of looking for problems, understanding context, and connecting the dots. And you know, the most empowering part of this whole way of thinking is realizing that opportunities are not scarce. They are abundant. They are literally all around you every single day, just disguised as little frustrations, inefficiencies, and unmet needs. So it really all comes down to this. The challenge isn't that there's a shortage of ideas on the world. The real question is, are you training yourself to see them? Are you looking with the right lens, in the right places, and in the right way?